Spend 5 minutes with the official music video for Total Eclipse of the Heart, and the questions start to pile up. It is a work of pure, logic-defying chaos, filled with floating choir boys, an isolated asylum, and kids with glowing, supernatural eyes. This is a song that has cleared 1 billion views on YouTube and reached #1 in nearly every major market. Yet, on a narrative level, almost nothing about the presentation makes sense in a traditional pop context. The visual disconnect was so severe, it actually birthed the literal music video meme, a viral trend where fans recorded new lyrics just to narrate the confusing, nonsensical events happening on screen. However, look past the 1980s surface, and every single one of these choices follows a precise, terrifyingly consistent script. Understanding this pop culture staple requires setting aside the assumption that we are listening to a standard story about human romance. Jim Steinman originally composed the track for an unproduced musical adaptation of Nosferatu, the landmark 1922 silent vampire film. Steinman was a writer obsessed with the Gothic. He lived like a creature of the night himself, famously refusing to work while the sun was up and doing all his composing in the early hours of the morning. Before it was released as a pop single, the song carried a far more descriptive title, Vampires in Love. Steinman designed the structure of the song as a role-reversing duet. He cast a female voice to sing the monstrous part, the gravelly, damaged protagonist, and a male voice to provide a pure, angelic tenor response. This theatrical framing shifts the perspective of the track toward the overwhelming power of darkness and the danger of trying to find love within it. When viewed as a script for the undead, the bizarre lyrics transform into a highly literal narrative. For a creature that dies upon contact with the sun, the phrase, "love in the dark," is a statement of physical survival. The line, "forever's gonna start tonight," refers to the specific moment a human receives the gift of immortality through a vampire's bite. This diagram shows a total eclipse, a moment where the sun is completely obscured. In Steinman's world, a total eclipse of the heart is the vampire's ultimate goal, the permanent removal of the sun's light. The recurring plea to turn around bright eyes targets the glowing, supernatural gaze of a predator stalking its victim in the shadows. Even living in a powder keg and giving off sparks describes the volatile, combustible physical chemistry of two undead beings. "I'm always in the dark" reinforces the physical boundary that defines a vampire's existence. The angelic background vocals represent the victim's perspective, calling out to a partner who is undergoing a terrifying transformation. These lyrics provide a step-by-step libretto of a human surrendering their life to a monster. This leaves a historical question. How did a Welsh singer known for country rock become the face of a Gothic vampire opera? Steinman first offered the song to Meat Loaf. However, a financial dispute with the record label blocked the collaboration, leaving Steinman's tracks without a performer. Bonnie Tyler had just signed a new deal and specifically requested a meeting with Steinman, hoping to capture some of that theatrical rock energy. She arrived at the studio with a voice that had been recently ravaged. Following surgery to remove vocal cord nodules, her tone had shifted into a raspy, weathered sound that Steinman found perfect for the monstrous lead role. A corporate standoff and a medical accident combined to create the perfect, tormented performance needed to bring this story to the mainstream. The production environment mirrored the music. The video was filmed at Holloway Sanatorium, a sprawling Gothic asylum so unsettling that the guard dogs on set refused to step foot in the basement. To make the song work for radio, editors had to aggressively cut the original 7-minute theatrical epic down to a 4-minute pop single. The result was a global #1 that defined the early era of MTV, placing a Gothic tragedy at the top of the pop charts. It has survived for 40 years because it carries a sense of life-or-death urgency that ordinary love songs avoid. Total Eclipse of the Heart remains a literal anthem for the undead, hiding in plain sight on karaoke stages every single night.